it is broke. These are mafia gangs. Businessmen search for your number and keep on disturbing. They only disturb you. We have a phone for their business. Therefore, they disturb. See, today's YouTube video will be in 2 parts, because joining all this is a very difficult job. Sometimes you can join, but it is a big process, so I just leave it. I'll upload as a 2 pieces, because you see, somebody telephoned, the ringing, and it got broke. YouTube recording, I am doing the side by side. YouTube recording has got a 2 pieces now. Idam satyam, idam mithya, ayamatma, ayamanatma, iti viveka abhavadeva. See, this is satyam. What is satyam? Atma is self-existing, self-shining. Satyam means what? Unnegatable. What is unnegatable, what is self-existing is satyam. It is not confined to a given time, given place, given condition. It is not limited to any time, any place, any condition. It is there because it is, that's all. Satyam means self-existing. Satyam because it is satyam, that's all. There is no other definition. Satyam means is. What is is. They ask you what is truth? Because it is truth. What is truth? Because it is true. What is existing? Because it is existing. See, we say what is existing. It is not a particular thing that is existing. Existence is existing, that's all. Existence alone exists. Do you mean non-existent can exist? Or tentative existence can exist? Tentative is not in existence anyway. What exists in its own right, what exists independently, naturally, on its own, that is reality. And Atma is independently existing. That I exist, that I am. Can you ever deny? I am, I am, I am. This I am is a thought about my existence. Can you deny your existence ever? Can you ever see the absence of your existence? Your existence can never be absent. Therefore, that self-existing, because it is self-existing, you have no other explanation, no other reason to be given. It exists because it exists, that's all. Why sun is light? Because sun alone is light. That's what we say. Why sun gives light? Because it is light. Because its very nature is light. What can you do? Why Atma is Satyam? Because it happened to be Satyam. Satyam means what? Satyam means existing. Satyam means true. Why it is true? Because it is true. This is the way of understanding the truth. Why Atma is truth? Because it is true. True means what? It always is. True means its existence is ever existing. It exists not because of anything. It is not a conditional existence, nor it is an absence. Neither it is absence, nor it is a conditional existence. It is unconditional, self-shining existence. Unconditional means what? It exists because it exists, that's all. Self-existing. It doesn't even need a proof because it is self-existing. Therefore, that is Atma. So, idam satyam. See, that one word of Swamiji, how important it is. Each word, I think there is no book like Sugama. I think nobody will ever be able to write a book like Sugama for another few centuries. I tell you, you are lucky that you are born just recently. This Sugama is not an ordinary Grantha. Bah! It is as great as Shankara's Bhashya. Sachidananda Swamiji's Sugama is as great as Shankara Bhashya. See how it is unfolding the truth. Bah! But patiently you have to go. You shouldn't hurry. Go by the word, sentence by sentence. See of course, you need a Sampradaya Guru to explain. If you read by yourself, I don't know then how much you will be able to understand. But if you have Guru's help, then you can see the word by word how directly there is Brahman. Because Brahman is not a given thing. Brahman is not something. Brahman is yourself. Yourself means what? A self-shining. How do you say? Because it is there, self-existing. What is the proof? Because it is self-existing. How do you know? Because it is self-existing. What is self-existing? Because it is self-existing. So that is Satyam. Satyam is Satyam because it is Satyam. Ah, what a logic. See, somebody is again and again phoning. He tried here, he trying there. Who is that person? I don't know. They want to right now 11 to 12 alone. I must attend. That is their thing. See, ringing. He won't leave it. Idam satyam, idam mithya. This is the truth. Then mithya means what? See, have you watched this? Very interesting thing. Satyam, how do you know? Because it is Satyam. You don't need to know. If you know it, then it becomes a knowable. A known is a conditional thing. Because it is an object of knowledge. Atma is Satyam because it is self-shining. It doesn't need to be known through somebody there, then only you know it. In fact, in its existence alone, everything else is known. Therefore, its existence doesn't need any proof. It is self-existing. It is very self-existing. Okay? So, idam satyam. Then what is idam mithya? Idam mithya means a thought which is disproven is mithya. How do you understand mithya? I don't know how the Bhashyakara says, how Sachidananda Swamiji says, how the books say. I leave it. You just go by your anubhava. You explain from your anubhava directly. Tell me what is mithya. What is disproven? What cannot be disproven is Satyam. Okay? What cannot be disproven? See, I'm giving you a very good definition, very good way of telling. How do you know what is truth? What cannot be disproved? What cannot be negated is Satyam. It is self-existing. Okay. Then what is disproven is mithya. Anything other than self-existing is disproven. Self-existing is self-existing alone. Anything non-self-existing doesn't exist. Non-self means what? Self is self-existing. Non-self means non-self-existing. Anatma means what? Atma is self-existing. Anatma means what? Non-self-existing. Non-self-existing itself shows it is dependent. It doesn't exist on its own. It has no existence of its own. That means it can be disproven. It can be forgotten. It can be negated because it is a conditional existence. It is not self-existing. Self-existing is self-existing. It is not conditional existence. It's not dependent existence. What is dependent existence? Doesn't have a self-existence. This disproving of, when you disprove a thought, see, a thought shows a certain reality. Every thought points out something. But no thought can be real because every thought talks of only Anatma. Because whatever any thought shows something, the thought is wrong because thought is not true to the reality. Every thought is wrong thought. Because every thought talks about something which doesn't exist. Because every thought is going to be wrong except the self-existing Atma. Regarding self-existing, you have no thought. You cannot have a thought. Regarding self-existing Atma, you cannot have a thought. But if you have a thought that is about non-self-existing, Anatma, self-existing is Atma. Regarding self-existing, you cannot entertain a thought. Because thought is always untrue. Because self-existing Atma, you cannot have a thought. Then if you have a thought, then it is about non-self-existing Atma. If you have a thought, it is Anatma, it is Anrutam. The very thought proves that it is Anrutam. Once the thought is proven as a false, because what the thought is about, tell me. Thought is about something. What is that something? The something doesn't exist. Because thought cannot have, thought cannot be a thought about self-existing Atma. Because self-existing Atma cannot be thought of. If you can think, it is a wrong thought. Wrong thought means it doesn't have an entity. This thought, see, every thought is about an object. If the object doesn't exist and there is only a thought, without an object being there, it is a false thought. What is false thought? If there is a thought without the object being there, it is a false thought. You have a snake thought, but there is no snake object. This is called mithya. What is mithya? A false thought. What is false? There is a thought without the corresponding object, without what the thought about it, without the thing about which the thought is. See, you have a thought. I ask you, what is the thought about? If you look for the object, it doesn't exist. There is no object about which is this. This is the thought. Here is a thought. Thought about what? There is no such thing called about. Yet there is a thought. There is a thought without its object being there. This is called mithya. Without the object being there, you have a thought about an object. Thought about what? Doesn't exist. Then thought becomes false. If you have a thought about a non-existing thing, then the thought is a wrong thought. This is what means mithya. Mithya means what? This is very interesting. Mithya means there is a thought without its corresponding reality. There is no reality, yet you have a thought. That means a simple assumption, a simple imposition, a simple imagination is adhyasa, is mithya. Adhyasa, mithya, anrutam, whatever you say. Vitatam. Okay. Whatever you thought of, the self-existing Atma cannot be thought of. See, this, note it. Why? If you think it is not self-existing. Because the thought itself is you can have thought only about conditional existence. You can have a thought about Anrutam Atma. Regarding Satyam Atma, you cannot have a thought. You cannot have a thought about Satyam Atma. Because thought is limited. A limited can show only limited. It can't show the limitless. Limitless Atma cannot be thought of. Why we cannot thought of limitless Atma? Because it is a limitless. Thought is limited. Thought can only imagine limited things. A thought can imagine only limited things. It can't thought limitless. Therefore, regarding Sushupti, if you have a thought about Sushupti, it's a false thought. Because in Sushupti, you have no thought. If you have a thought about Sushupti, then you are in waking. See, in Sushupti, you cannot have a thought. Because you are Sushupti, is non-dual. Which is non-dual? If you have a thought about Sushupti, two things you have to understand. That means you have come out of Sushupti. If you have a thought about Sushupti, you have come out of Sushupti. Because being in Sushupti, you cannot have a thought. Isn't it? Being in Sushupti, you can't entertain a thought. If you have entertained a thought, the very thought is outside Sushupti. Okay. The thought is outside Sushupti. Since it is outside Sushupti, it is not about Sushupti. Though it thinks that it is about Sushupti, because regarding Sushupti, you cannot have a thought. If you have a thought, then it is a wrong thought. Because it is not true to Sushupti. You have a thought, it is an imposed one. It is not true to Sushupti, it is a wrong thought. Therefore, every thought is a mithya. Because all thoughts are not true to Atma. Because regarding Atma, you can't have a thought. I hope I have conveyed. This is a simple thing like you. It is as simple as this. How Atma is very simple. Self-existence, no thought can be entertained. If you can entertain, then it is not self-existent Atma. It is Anatma. Okay. Therefore, to understand this alone, that every thought is a wrong thought, because the thought has no corresponding reality. This thought has no corresponding reality. But the reality itself cannot be thought of. Because reality is self-existing. Self-existing is self-existing. That's all. This word self-existing, what does it do? It's like writing on water. When you write in water, as you write, it doesn't exist. It disappears. When you say Atma is self-existing, this sentence itself disappears. And self-existence is self-existence. This sentence cannot reveal self-existence because before you utter self-existent exists model. Atma exists already. Before you speak, Atma already exists. That self-existence doesn't need a thought. Doesn't need a thought. Before you think, there is already self-existence. And you can't think of that self-existence. If you think, then it is not about self-existence. It is an imposed Atma. It is a wrong Atma. Self-existing Atma cannot be thought of. If you entertain a thought, that is a false thought. It is bound to be false because it is a thought about thoughtless. It is a thought about what cannot be thought of. Every thought is a thought about what cannot be thought of. If you have a thought about what cannot be thought of, what is that thought? Tell me. It is a false. That's what we are telling. Anatma is mithya. Mithya means they are unable to understand. Or they are distorting our names, Sanskrit names, into some way, funny way. Each sentence is so beautiful. I am not able to proceed only 2 sentences only. Today I could cover in 1 hour only 2 sentences. You are not able to proceed. How beautiful it is. Each sentence is directly touching the truth. Therefore, idam satyam, idam mithya. When you understand this is truth and this is mithya, what happened? Ayam atma, ayam anatma, iti viveka abhava deva. Because of inability to examine and distinguish, you appear to be mixed up. And that is adhyasa. Viveka abhavat etayor parasparatmata. Because of your inability to distinguish, inability means you have not done that, Sali. Since you have not examined, therefore you think you are in an unexamined state. Okay. Parasparatmata, this is a mutual exchanging, a mutual misunderstanding, and their mutual properties are misunderstood. Pratiyate ite nischayam vidya mahuhu. This nischaya, this clear understanding is called vidya. Vedanta Sara is still light. Sugama is highly advanced. See how it talks of more complicated, more deeper things. Vedanta Sara, Vedanta Paribhasha is easy because it touches simply for children. Paribhasha and Sara is meant for children. Bala. And they touch the basic truth, they touch, but they don't touch the technical, complicated way of argument. Okay. Therefore, paraspara atmata, atma looks as anatma and atma looks as atma. This we shall discuss in the next line. So therefore, next class alone we will discuss it. Parasparatmata, paraspara dharmatvam. So anatma's properties appear to be belonging to atma, and atma's properties appear to be belonging to anatma. Okay. Paraspara dharmatvancha darsha pratiyate iti nischayam vidyamahu. This kind of understanding. Atma is atma. Atma means self-existing. And anatma talks about the same atma wrongly. If you understand this much, then atma and atma viveka is done. If you have not understood, then we have to again discuss. Okay. Idam satyam idam mithya ayam atma ayam anatma iti viveka abhavat. Due to unable to distinguish between these two, eva etayor parasparatmata parasmadharmatvam cha pratiyate. So due to his inability to distinguish, you start seeing this thing. What is that? Parasparatmata, one thing taken for other. Paraspara dharmatvam, one's property belongs to the other. Iti nischayam vidyamahu iti purvokta vidya nivartakatvad iti bhavaha. So this is avidya. Yathoktam pujyapadayireva anyatra. Okay, Acharyaru, the same point, tells elsewhere, that is a Gita Bhashyam. The same Adhyasa Satyam Mithya, he talks about beautifully in Gita Bhashyam, 13th chapter. We shall discuss that next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om Tat Sat.